Hi, I'm Danielle, and I'm 19 years old. I'm from the north of Israel. I would like to tell you about myself and about the letter that I'm part of, the refusal letter of 2013. Well, we start with myself. At my home, we never had a political discussion because we never connect between our problems to the occupation. And this is one of the biggest problems of the Israeli society. When I started to develop my awareness to the occupation, I was 15 years old, and I studied philosophy at my school. My teacher also was an objector, but he never could talk with us about the occupation and about how much it's important to refuse, because it's not legal in the Israeli education system. But even though he teaches about the philosopher journals that talk about civil disobedience, and then I learned that there is a possibility to refuse, and then I started to collect a lot of information about the occupation and about the other side. Not a while from then, I went to a summer camp, an alternative summer camp for youth that speak about the other side and the occupation. And then we visited two Palestinian villages. Their name is Crete and Biram. They were destroyed in 1948, as we were about 700 more Palestinian villages. Specifically, both those villages were Christian villages. When I was there, I understood their daily battle to try to live a normal life, to reach the lands, and to live without knowing when they will be afforded. How the government and the court system ignore even their basic rights to return to the village that they were recognized by the Israeli Supreme Court. It just showed me the bottom of the line of one group controlling other by force, and the limited ability of the minority group to resist this. And in general, the easy way in which things are solved by force in the Israel, masculine violence dominance. This was an example for me of how much our society is occupied by those militaristic values. This is also, I'm sorry. I was taught from a young age by the education system to admire those brave masculine men who solve things by violence, soldiers. This is also affects our values as a society. This is why I chose not to be part of the military, to refuse. I did not want to buy into those values. When I thought about how to refuse, as I told you before, I went to this summer camp, and I met there a lot of young people like me that felt like they also occupied in the Israeli society, that we have to serve in the army, that we are getting to the age when we are 18, we have to serve in the army. We have to be part of the occupation, and we felt the same, and then we wrote a letter to the government that we are against the occupation, and this is one of the reasons that we chose to refuse. I would like to read you the letter. I'm sorry, Sal will do it because she will be better than me.
Danielle will continue just shortly after this. So this is the 2014 refuser's letter against the occupation. We are Israeli citizens designated to be drafted into the Israeli military. We ask those reading this letter to set aside what seems to be obvious and reconsider the true meaning of military service. We, the undersigned, intend to refuse our military service, and the main reason for our refusal is our opposition to the occupation of the Palestinian territories by the military. Palestinians in the occupied territories live under the rule of the Israeli government, although they did not elect it and have no legal means to influence its decisions. This is not equal and not just. In these territories, human rights are violated, and actions that the international law condemns as war crimes are perpetrated regularly, such as targeted killings, which are executions without trial, building of settlements in occupied territory, administrative detentions, torture, collective punishment, and unequal distribution of resources, such as water and electricity. Any form of service in the Israeli military contributes to the maintaining of this situation, and so we cannot in good conscience take part in the system that perpetuates the actions mentioned above. The problem with the military system is not restricted to the oppression of the Palestinian people, but also infiltrates Israeli daily life. It molds the education in schools, employment opportunities, causes racism and violence within Israeli society, including ethnic, national, and gender discrimination. We refuse to assist the military system in further perpetuating masculine dominance. We see the military as one that encourages a violent, masculine, militaristic ideal of the rule of the strong. This ideal harms us all, and mostly those who do not fit in it. We also object to the discriminatory and gender-oppressive system that exists within the military system itself. We refuse to give up our principles and values as a condition to be part of Israeli society. Our refusal is the result of much thought, and we pay the price for our choices. We call upon our peers, soldiers in regular service, reserve service soldiers, and the citizens of Israel as a whole to reconsider their position regarding the occupation, the draft, and the place of the military in civil society. We believe in the power of citizens to change the reality on the ground and create a more fair and just society. Our refusal is a testimony to that belief.
Well, I assume some information about the group. We are 150 youth from all of the country, Israel, of course, between the ages 16 to 21, and we are doing lots of actions. We are having lots of demonstrations. We have 2 refusers now in prison because they chose not to be part of the Israeli military, and because of that, they sent into the jail. Uriel Ferrara and Udi Sega, you're welcome to follow us on our Facebook group, Conscientious Objectors Against Occupation. We also did some other actions. For example, in Protective Edge, the last attack on Gaza, we did an action that to show the Israeli society the other side. We hang all over of the center of Tel Aviv t-shirt covered in fake blood, and we did a graffiti that wrote that there is more than 200 people killed in Gaza. Stop the killing. It's time to refuse. We did it to show the Israeli society that there is another side, because when a soldier dies, he is a hero, and when a Palestinian dies, he is an animist. And we wanted to show that the Palestinians are people and they have all the rights to live. And we wanted, this is our messenger. We thought that our message are relevant and this is our responsibility. And we did another action on the end of Protective Edge, that's attack on Gaza. we wrote some fake posters, and we hang it out on all over Tel Aviv. We wrote some the posters saying that the IDF called to the soldiers to refuse, and it's kind of supposed to be funny, so you should laugh. And thank you. And we did it to show us again and statistic operations about what's happening in Gaza, because the Israeli media are not showing those statistic operations, and for that we wanted to show to the Israeli society again that there is another side that's hurting all the time. We were a group of youth. Their thought and their principle. The Israeli society see us who didn't serve in the army as a drafted judge, meaning someone who didn't dodging their responsibility. But as far as we are concerned, refusers is to take responsibility. Service in the army is not a protection on the country, as the education system trying to convince us since we are young. It's support of a blood cycle and militaristic values. And that's why the act of not taking a part of war crimes that my country does is important. The refuse is a way to choose not to be part of the violence and the occupation. And of course, a way to spread the awareness of youths, of other youth that doesn't know that there is a possibility not to serve in the army. As a citizen of Israel, I'm part of a country that, based on the system, the security system, that actually creates an oppression and the occupation. The choice of take part of a new narrative that said, stop the violence, stop the racism, stop the blood cycle. It's important to our society and the Palestinians. The support of the refusers movement to let other teenagers to hear about this way is so important, because as you heard, I learned about that there is a way to refuse just when I was 15 years old. And also, I would like to tell you a story about myself. When you are choosing to be an refuser, you are choosing to be an outsider. Most of my friends are not my friends anymore. I'm not in touch with part of my family. And the last time that I met my family, they called me and people that are choosing to choose this way, cancer. I'm a cancer. No, I'm not a cancer. I want to bring the peace. I want to bring something else. Thank you. One last thing. If you want to follow us again, you can follow us on our Facebook group, Facebook group, Continuance of the Occupation, and I will be in the bazaar for questions. And if you want to join to our contact email, you're more than welcome. We would love to. Thank you.